from Kita Kyushu.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and looking forward to talk about Japanese wildlife.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's so great that you could join because I think we did talk a little bit about Japanese wildlife when we were talking with some hackers who had
Okay.
set up some trail cams around Japan and around the world, and they were talking about their cameras getting damaged. I know
Huh.
that you have had experience with that as well, but I
Yeah.
want to know a little
Mhm.
bit as we start about you and how you got started in this trail cam adventure.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. So, um, yeah. Well, again, it is me and a good buddy of mine. Oh, let me turn that off. Uh, Named Wombat. So my name is Daniel, and my good buddy from Australia, his name is also Daniel. We're two Dans, right? So, um, and we just decided to call him Wombat. But anyway, he actually has another YouTube channel that's all about hiking and outdoors in Kyushu, and he kind of started out just doing the outdoorsy things, climbing mountains, and just kind of showing off the beauty of rural Japan. And within that, he kind of got into trail camps. And from there, he's like, I just want to start a new channel, YouTube channel, just purely based on trail cameras and whatnot. So we can go into talk about like trail cams a little bit, what they are. Some people might have no idea what a trail camera is, but yeah, that's kind of how we got started. It's my good buddy, he kind of was interested in it, and he said, "Hey, do you want to come over to the Japan Trail Cam project that you want to start?" And I was like, "Heck yes, let's do that." So yeah,
That's
we can
great.
talk about it throughout the interview, but that's just
Yeah,
something very
yeah.
quick. Mhm.
Before we dive into that,
Sure.
I'd love to know a little bit for our audience about
Mhm.
you.
Of
So
course.
you said we have this mutual connection of Hawaii because you were studying Japanese in Hawaii before
Of
you came,
course.
right?
Yes, of course, of course. Yeah. So I lived in Hawaii from 2007 to 2017, so a full 10 years to the date. But I moved to Hawaii to study Japanese. So went to the University of Hawaii, and I graduated with an Asian Studies degree. Yeah. So I've been speaking Japanese for the past about 15 years. So yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Wow, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a great Japanese and Asian studies department in Hawaii.
Oh, very good.
Um,
Yes.
I there's so many things I miss about Hawaii, but it's also great to be in Japan, and it's not
Hmm.
too far to
Not
get
too
over
far, not
to
too far.
Hawaii, right?
Again, with the state of the world right now, it's kind of impossible to move around. But when you can get to Hawaii from Japan, I forget going and coming which way is faster because you have trade winds. So I think going is faster. Going there is faster, but you can probably get there in about 6 to 7 hours. I mean, relatively, that's not too bad of a flight from Japan. So, but it Hawaii is definitely a very unique place in the world, and I definitely recommend it to everybody
Yeah.
for sure.
Let's talk about where you and the other Dan are
Of
and
course, Wombat. Yeah,
where most of your footage is from. So it's
of
from
course.
Fukuoka. Can you give us a
Fukuoka.
little lay of the land where you guys usually set up?
Definitely, yeah. So we are located in Fukuoka, which is in Kyushu. So within Kyushu, it's kind of the southern island of Japan. It looks like we have a map pulled up there, and you can kind of see where the little red marker is. So it's kind of the northern part of Kyushu in Fukuoka. Specifically, we're in Kita Kyushu, which is translates to North Kyushu. North Kyushu. You can probably see it at the very top there, to where the main island of Japan, Honshu, and Kyushu connect around Kita Kyushu and Nogata. Anywhere you see green, we have probably been trekking around those mountains. We're always kind of looking around, diving into different forests and whatnot, different mountains, to try to find spots to put our trail cameras in the woods there. So, and it kind of depends. Like sometimes we'll go a little bit up the mountains. Sometimes we'll find more of a farm area. It's very rural. It's rural. It's not too much of a trek up. But yeah, we look for green patches away from the cities because, as most people know, Japan is known for Tokyo and Osaka and those very big mega cities. We are more focused on kind of the not the unseen, but kind of the areas that, people just don't associate with Japan. The outdoors, the green, the nature. Because I think the nature in Japan is also very unique, very, very unique ecosphere, atmosphere, ecosystem. That's the word I'm looking for. So very, very unique, very unique. And we're just so excited. And, we're getting out in nature, which we try to advocate for, get out in nature because it's awesome, you know.
That's
Definitely.
great. I
Sure.
love this
Mhm.
picture that
Of
you
course.
shared on your social media. Me checking my trail cam for the first time, me checking my trail cam for the 7,431st time. So
Yeah,
it's
that was
always
Wombat. That was all Wombat.
surprising.
He created that,
Is
and
it?
that was
I
great.
love that.
Yeah, and we had a great chuckle about that because I guess I can show you really quick what a trail camera is. This is a trail camera. So it is just a camera that you can strap to a tree, right? And we'll leave this out in the woods for like the shortest we would leave it out was about 2 weeks. The longest we leave these out is about a month. And here's another example of a trail camera as well. Many different what like different types of trail cameras. So that can get kind of addicting. It's just like a regular like Sony and Canon and Panasonic. There's so many different camera brands. But anyway, it's so fun. You put it out in the woods, you wait for 2 or 3 weeks, and you go back, you open it up, and you're like, whoa, I got this amazing clip of a wild boar and like 7 little babies, like 7 little wild boar babies, which are super cute, or you'll catch kind of a tanuki. A tanuki, as if no one knows, is a Japanese raccoon dog, and it's an endemic and native species to Japan. So, and it's most people know tanuki as they have. I don't want to say anything kind of too weird, but in Japan, tanuki are known to have very large testicles. I said it, but that's I hope that's okay to say,
Of
but
course.
that in Japan, look up tanuki anywhere you want to look up tanuki, but they're the Japanese lore is that they have very big testicles, in real life they don't actually. But anyway, kind of random rant that way, but we leave these out in the woods for a good 2 weeks to a month, and when we go check it again, it's just so amazing to see what you caught. It's
Yeah.
I don't want to
Can
say
I
it's
ask
like
you about that?
mhm,
So
of
if
course.
you say you leave
Mhm,
the camera out there for 2 weeks, is
mhm.
it like motion activated the camera? Because that would be a heck of a lot of footage, right?
Yep, definitely. So again, I can kind of show you really quick again. Right here, this is the sensor right here. Okay, so it's a motion sensor, and what it will do, and some of the sensors are slightly different. So you can see the sensor on this one. There's 1, 2, 3 sensors right there. Yeah, uh, and it's a motion sensor. So think about it as kind of like on like someone's house. If you walk up to the house and lights will just pop on, um, something kind of like that. Instead of just lights, it will trigger the camera, so the camera will actually just turn on. So you can see right here, these are infrared lights, and it'll be easier to see on this camera here. If you can see all these right here, these are infrared lights. So it basically will emit the infrared light. The animals can't see it because it's infrared light, right? But it will trigger the camera, so you kind of get the night vision. I guess you can see like kind of the black and white of them. Most of the animals that we see are very nocturnal, so it really helps out that we can catch them at night and we can see what they're doing at night. So definitely, yeah, they are. Motion sensor. So if something walks by, the camera will trigger and turn off. So it's on standby most of the time. So it conserves battery and whatnot. Yeah. And they're
And
waterproof and
then
everything like that. Not waterproof, but water resistant. So, we leave it out. I mean, 2 weeks is like kind of the minimum. On average, we're leaving them out for about a month, 3 to 4 weeks. I think I've had a cam out for over a month and a half, maybe at one time. So definitely. Yeah.
do
Yeah.
you have
Mhm.
any issues with security? Because I don't think these cameras are cheap, right? You ever
Yeah.
had a
So
camera go missing?
this one's about $300. So That one's a little bit expensive. This one's about $100, and it's just like any other kind of cameras. You have different features and stuff like that. So we have never had any cameras go missing. I've actually had Japanese people walk straight up to my camera, walk straight up to it, and what happens there is they just kind of look at it and walk away. And I think that is because we live in Japan. In the trail camera genre, I calling it a genre, but the trail cam hobby, kind of taking another step back, one of the main reasons these cameras exist as hunting cameras. So we're not hunters. We have no experience hunting. We have no interest in hunting. We don't condone it. We're not against it, but anyway, we don't use it for hunting. So people will set these up in kind of areas that they want to track animals that they potentially want to hunt. So that's one of the main things. In the United States, there is a problem of people finding these and then just nicking them, taking them. In Japan, it's Japan. People will find a wallet with money in it at a very busy train station with tens of thousands of people, and they will turn it into the police. So that's one of the things that is very unique with Japan. It would not happen anywhere else in the world, I think.
It's
Mhm,
interesting to me, working in the travel industry, and whenever I see
mhm,
tourists walking around with the backpack
mhm,
in front,
mhm. Yeah,
I think they just came. They
they
don't
just came.
know
They have no
they
idea. They've
don't
been
know
to
how
Europe where,
safe
Europe, you
Japan
have to
is.
protect, your
Yeah.
stuff. But in Japan, again, I actually lost not necessarily a wallet, but I had some train tickets in there that anybody could use. Anybody could, use those train tickets if they wanted to. But, I lost it the next day, got a phone call, or I went to a lost and found, registered my information. Next day, hey, we found it. People could have nicked those train tickets and used them,
Yeah.
but they didn't. It all came
No.
back to me. So
It's a
we have no
wonderful thing
problem with
about
them
being in
going missing.
yeah,
Yeah.
traveling in Japan too. You
Mhm.
do have some animal
Mhm.
interactions with your camera, uh,
Yeah, the picture you have
which
right here.
might set off the angle. Have you ever
Yep.
had a camera destroyed? When we were talking with
Mhm.
Akiba about
Mhm.
setting up his cameras in
Mhm.
this like safari areas, you had
Mhm.
some animals that would just totally destroy it. They were so interested. They
Yeah.
wanted to get inside of it.
Yeah. So we've never actually had any animals destroy our cameras, but they have definitely, like the picture you saw right there. That was a wild boar. Wild boar, they have amazing senses of smell. Like their eyesight is horrible, right? But they can smell like crazy. They can smell just anything. That is their main sense of direction, right? So this one, I had it kind of set at an angle, and just a wild boar, he just kind of came up and sniffed it and just mangled it, right? But these things are actually pretty dang sturdy. So they just kind of knock it off angle. They'll get it. Their noses are usually muddy and wet, so it'll be all muddy and dirty, and we just wipe that off. So we've never had any animals destroy or ruin our cameras. Another thing too, raccoons, like common raccoons, which are an invasive species in Japan. They will come up and they'll just try to get their little fingers on the trail camera and stuff like that. But they never destroy the camera or anything like that. We've actually kind of connected with another YouTuber here in Japan who's in the north of Japan. We want to catch bears, right? So in Japan there is a native species of bear which is called the Asiatic black bear. In Japanese, it's called Tsukinowa guma. So it's a black bear that has a kind of white crest and a crescent moon shape on its chest. So we want to catch those bears, but they don't exist. They're extinct in Kyushu. They used to be in Kyushu, but there's no Asiatic black bears. Ursus tibetanus is the scientific name, but there's no black bears in Kyushu anymore. So we've sent a trail camera. We've sent one similar to this to another YouTuber in the north. I believe he's in Iwate, so more north where there are bears. So as we know, bears are much bigger. So there is maybe a potential for a bear to do some damage to a camera if they kind of get up and they want to chomp on it. I would imagine a bear could probably do some damage. And eventually, a long-term goal is to get up to Hokkaido where they actually have brown bears, which are much bigger than Asiatic black bears. Again, bears might be able to do something like that, but there is another big community of trail cameras that do get regular bear shots, and most times the bears just kind of wander by, do their bear things and stuff like that. So I haven't really seen any animals really destroying cameras, but I would imagine it could happen. Yeah, but we've never had anything like that. But in safari areas, you were mentioning like another person
Yeah.
you interviewed, they had it in safari area. Yeah, I would imagine, if they're getting like lions and like hyenas and stuff like that, like could be a different ball game
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked with a
Hmm.
coach
Hmm.
who moved out of Tokyo about an hour, 90
Hmm.
minutes away, and a
Okay.
beautiful area called Minamikami. And
Minami Kami. Okay.
he had an interaction with a bear,
Oh wow.
where he was slightly injured, but he realized the mother bear was protecting its cubs. And
Hmm.
then later he was really distraught to know that that same bear was trapped and killed. And then
Yeah,
it made him become more of an activist about the need to think about wildlife conservation and protecting these animals as we encroach on their habitat. Is that something that you've kind of over time, the more that you do these trail cams, are you thinking about conservation a little bit as well?
definitely. Definitely. Yeah. So we actually kind of we talk with another kind of we've never done any projects with another YouTuber. Anyway, there's a YouTube channel that's in Nagano, which is I think Pichio is what they are, and they're all about wild bear, Asiatic bear conservation, right? And relocating. So basically, if a bear is kind of spotted in more of a populated area, they will actually go out and trap it and then release it into an area that is away from humans, right? So they're an amazing YouTube channel that we've just been friendly with and whatnot. So we follow that, and we just think it's so amazing, right? Kind of talking about some of the animals that we see. I've caught a Japanese night heron a few times on trail cam. They are very, very extremely endangered. There's estimated of less than 1,000 birds, right? And they're kind of like a forest marshland heron, a smaller kind of heron. I forget the name in Japanese. Ooh, but a Japanese night heron, right? And their habitat is kind of Kyushu, Okinawa, Hong Kong, a little bit of Taiwan, but I think they're migratory as well, the birds. But it's just amazing to catch an animal on that and to kind of record it, because less than 1,000 birds. Like, I don't want to say anything, and I don't want to foreshadow anything, but that's not very many animals, not very many birds left of these Japanese night herons. And
It's
again, mhm,
important on many
yeah.
levels
Oh
to
yeah,
document
of
what you're
course.
doing and showing what
Hmm.
is in the forest. And sometimes you show tanuki that look
Hmm.
sick, or
Oh
other
yeah.
animals
Hmm.
that look too thin. This is
Hmm.
all important documentation. I
Definitely.
notice you
Hmm.
have collaborated with,
Hmm.
is it Animal Logic?
Yeah,
They
Animal
shared.
Logic. Yeah, Animal Logic. They reached out to us. They saw a bunch of our Tanuki footage, and Animal Logic is a huge YouTube channel. I think a couple million subscribers or something like that. But they reached out to us. They saw some of our Tanuki footage, and they just happened to be doing a Tanuki video, and they said, "Hey, can we use some of your clips?" And they actually used quite a bit of our clips. And it was just really fun because I think they're a big community, and I think they might actually have some researchers and whatnot that actually know more than we do, because we've learned so much by starting kind of this hobby, because we're not any experts by any means, but we're learning so much because it's opened our eyes to a new world, basically. And we read on every single animal that we catch. We read, kind of their moving habits and their mating habits and their hibernating, when they're hibernating, and how they breed. And we're reading so much because we want to catch them on film. We need to get to know the animals, right? We need to understand the animals to be able to catch them on film, right? So yeah, Animal Logic, they reached out to us. They did an amazing job on Tanuki, and kind of explaining Tanuki and kind of sharing the actual side of Tanuki. There is I kind of mentioned before, kind of the mythological in Japanese mythology. Tanuki are very big, and they've been a part of Japanese mythology. I don't know, but I would go out to say thousands of years, hundreds of years, at least hundreds of years, that Tanuki have been part of Japanese culture and in popular culture and whatnot. So
You
definitely, Animal Logic was great. Yeah. Mhm.
you often see the Tanuki
Mhm.
statues in front of restaurants or
Yeah, in front of
hotels,
udon
right?
places and and,
Yeah,
and
it's
whatnot,
connected
udon
to a
and
lot of
izakaya.
folklore
Yeah, a
and
lot of
stories.
folklore. Hmm.
I love your
Hmm.
engagement on your YouTube channel with your
Yeah.
audience and asking
Hmm.
which animals people enjoy watching more.
Hmm.
Let's look at that. So the
Sure.
most popular answer, I chose wild boar. I love watching the wild boar. They have
Yeah,
so
the
much
wild boar are
character.
great. They have
But
so much
the
character. Yeah.
number one answer
Hmm.
is the raccoons and the tanuki. That
And
was
the tanuki.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, the tanuki are great. Definitely raccoons, because raccoons are just raccoons and they're hilarious. They do funny stuff. Also, the tanuki, I think tanuki, because again, they are very Japanese. They're very unique to Japan, and they're an endemic. Not endemic, but they are a native species to Japan here. They're actually, tanuki are an invasive species in Europe. They were taken over to Europe as part of kind of a fur trade. They were on fur farms and whatnot, and some got away, and now they're very invasive. Tanuki are very rugged, very hardy, very adaptable animals and whatnot. Yeah, but wild boar, I definitely agree with you. Wild boar, they make for good videos. They are rambunctious. They have so much personality. They they can run like crazy fast, and they roll around in the mud, and sometimes they'll bring their babies into the shot. 6 or 7 babies in the shot. For sure, wild boar are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
uh,
is something
mhm,
you must see all the time, but
yeah. Mhm,
what do the animals eat? Because I often, if I go on a
mhm,
trail, I'll
yeah.
see the trail has been dug up, so I know
Yep.
that's probably the wild boar looking for grubs or insects.
Mhm. Yeah,
The
you hit it right on
the
the head there. Yeah,
deer,
definitely.
the deer
Mhm,
might be eating some of the tree bark or
mhm.
plants. Raccoons and tanuki. Can you just tell us a little bit? What do the animals eat that you've noticed?
Definitely, yeah, sure. For each animal, definitely, it's obviously going to be very different. But tanuki are very advantageous, and raccoons are very advantageous. They will eat if it moves. They will eat it. Basically, they will eat bugs, snakes, lizards. They'll eat carrion. So if they come across another animal that has passed away, they'll eat that. Um, Anything, raccoons and tanuki. Raccoons are a little bit of a problem, because again, they're an invasive species, and sometimes they'll eat native species of like crawfish and some crustaceans and whatnot that are in some rivers and whatnot, and potentially fish as well. Tanuki have actually been known to dive, not deep, but they'll actually dive deep into um, the water to catch fish or any other kind of aquatic wildlife. Deer, obviously, yeah, the deer will eat, leaves and grass and vegetation. And you hit it on the head. Deer will actually pull bark off of trees. So that's another way we locate animals. We look for signs, because you can just go out into a forest and put it on a tree, but we're getting much better at saying, this is definitely a wildlife hotspot. So we have to put a camera here. So deer will do that. They'll pull off bark and chew on the bark. A wild boar, they'll eat kind of nuts and what other fruits and flowers and vegetation and mushrooms. They'll eat certain types of mushroom and other kind of forage stuff like that. Another animal we see is marten or weasels or Japanese marten. Again, they are vicious hunters, Japanese marten, and they're beautiful. They're like a beautiful orange color, and they will prey on birds and whatnot. And I think there is actually another invasive species, a Siberian weasel, that I mentioned. The Japanese night heron is kind of really competing and really hurting the Japanese night heron, because those Siberian weasels will actively go and destroy their nests and grab their eggs and whatnot. So yeah, definitely, there's different, each animal has, their different diets, but yeah, they just kind of forage. You're definitely right with like the wild boar. The wild boar constantly have their noses to the ground and are just sniffing the ground, and you know foraging for tidbits, for nuts
Yeah.
and other forage. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I
Yeah.
notice you're
Mhm.
setting up your camera to get a lot of different animals coming to the same area, would be
Mhm.
around a watering hole. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we in Japanese that's called a nutaba, nutaba, and you can flex your Japanese on people, because most Japanese people are not going to know what a nutaba is. They're like, what? They have no idea what that is, because it's a very specific word, only for that, but it's basically a watering hole or a wallering spot. So when we find that, we'll see hoof prints. We'll see wild boar kind of a hoof print, because wild boar and pigs, they kind of have like kind of a standard kind of three prong kind of looking hoof. We'll see hoof prints there, and you'll see kind of areas that have been flattened out by just big wild boar, just kind of rolling around in the mud there. And the reason they do that, the wild boar do that, is to basically rid their body of like fleas or ticks, dead skin, old hair. And it's also kind of helps cool them down in the summer months, and also can kind of be kind of like a sunscreen. You'll see, like, on wild mountain documentaries where elephants are throwing dirt, or hippos will roll in mud, cover themselves in mud. It can work as a yeah, just like that picture that's on screen there. The wild boar will kind of just roll around in the mud, and those areas are hot spots for wildlife, because the wild boar use it to drink. They also use it to kind of bathe, I guess you can say, but other animals will actually use that to drink water. And tanuki, they will usually find like insects and worms and whatnot around that area, kind of those kind of marshy kind of areas. So when we find a new taba, or we find a watering hole or something like that, that is a very big key indicator um, of that wildlife is going to be in that area. Once we find it, you really have to be strategic on where you place your camera, right? Sometimes we've found amazing water hole, but there's no place to put a camera, because we're relying on nature to be our tripod. We hook this to a tree, right? If there's not a good tree, it's like, dang, I really want a camera in this spot, but there's just no way to be able to feature the wildlife in a good way. Like, you'll just get a bunch of wild boar butts. You'll just get a bunch of butts. And that's fine. But we want to see the cute faces and the ears and everything like that. We just don't want behinds. So yeah,
So,
that's
so
another
in
challenge
that
too.
case, you
Mhm.
wouldn't set up a tripod or anything artificial. You want
Yeah,
to use something that's already there naturally. Is that right?
definitely. We want to try to use nature to set up our trail cameras for a couple reasons. The As you can see, like, this is camouflaged. This is kind of got some camouflage in there. But if you're putting kind of like a tripod out there, it's not natural to the area. Obviously, this isn't natural as well. But having something that is big and unnatural in that kind of environment, we feel like it would probably deter the wildlife from being in that area. Wild boar, again, they can smell. Like, I'm touching this camera right now, they'll be able to smell kind of the oils. My hands are clean, right? I just literally just use hand sanitizer, but they'll be able to smell that. And if they get one little whiff of something that is not natural, they're gone. They take off. Everybody thinks wild boars as these kind of vicious, crazy animals, but they're really not like that. They're very skittish. You know,
Yeah.
you still have to be
I
careful with it. It is a wild
Of
animal,
course, yeah,
but
and some of
mhm.
them are so big and really
Oh yeah.
scary.
Mhm,
But,
mhm.
I
Mhm.
think they're gorgeous creatures, and like we
I
said
think they are
before, so much character.
so
We
much
we have
character. Yeah. Mhm.
someone joining from your channel. Hey Mo, great to you can join from the US. Thanks for joining. And Richard from Facebook has said
Awesome.
we have bears in Hiroshima's forest. That's true.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, 月の熊は広島県にいます。Reading Japanese is not my forte. Kanji is
Reading
just everybody's nemesis.
reading
Even
Japanese
Japanese
is
people.
hard.
Even
Yeah.
Japanese people can't even read their own language. Yeah. So that's awesome. I'm really glad that a couple people kind of clicked over from our community as well. Yeah.
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, but
One
again,
of one of
mhm,
the things on your YouTube channel,
mhm.
just to mention here, you've been doing a lot of these short videos. Have you found a lot of traction using the shorts
Yeah, the
kind of
shorts. Yeah.
style?
Yeah, it's very hit or miss. We actually had a couple of them just really take off because YouTube, that's a whole different, kind of topic as well. But, YouTube is trying out this shorts, I think, to probably compete with, TikTok and kind of these other short form video creation apps, I guess. I don't know if I'm articulating that well, but I think most people would probably understand. But they're experimenting with that, and they are promoting videos. The algorithm is kind of promoting videos a little, I don't want to say a little bit more fairly, but um their algorithm is still learning, right? On what kind of content they want to push out to a lot of people. So we've had a few videos that done really, really well. We actually had one that just 2 days ago got about 800 some odd views. And it's, you can tell when it goes on and goes off. The algorithm will literally just cut the video off. It's like building views, building views, and algorithm says, all right, enough, boom, the videos stop. And I think that's because YouTube, the algorithm will put it on the short shelf, I believe is what they're calling it, the shelf, and they'll kind of push it through because obviously YouTube, the algorithm wants to keep people on their platform as long as possible. So if people are, if their algorithm decides, oh, this video is going to keep bringing in a bunch of people, they'll keep our video on the short shelf for longer. So we've had, varying success. It's very hit or miss. But we're just super excited to kind of share very unique interactions with our trail cameras that we think are cute. And I think one that did well very recently was a wild boar mama, and just literally had a trail of 7 or 8 little wild boar just kind of trickling right
Oh,
behind her. It was so cute. The wild boar, the babies, they're super cute. Again, wild boar, kind of going on another tangent, they can kind of be a problem because they can breed very rampant. There is a native species of wild boar in Japan, but a lot of them are invasive as well. There's the Eurasian wild boar that was just kind of brought in, and they can kind of be a little bit of a problem. I've firsthand seen kind of bank erosion from wild boar. We talked about earlier how wild boar will kind of rub in kind of these wallowing areas. I've had a camera in an area for about 2 months, and I can really see like the bank just really slowly going back. And I've seen smaller trees that, in the video were straight up. In my camera, they were in the frame and they were straight up. But I come back a month later, like, since the bank is eroding, they're so close to the bank that the tree is kind of, falling over and whatnot. And huge trees will fall over just because the wild boar will wallow and just constantly use that spot, and trees will fall over. But again, that's kind of a natural part of forest, the animals taking
yeah.
care of it. So but
Just
yeah,
to
shorts.
catch
Mhm,
Mo up,
yeah,
asking where you are. So in the
mhm,
southern island of Kyushu, I'm
yep,
showing the map again here. And yeah, talking about wild boars
mhm,
as something that a lot of local rural communities or farmers will complain about. I also talked to
mhm,
Chuck Kaiser, who's an organic farmer in Shiga, and
mhm.
he is constantly fighting with the monkeys. And I know that
Yes.
you have documented monkeys. Monkeys are very smart. They know how to get over fences and steal all of your vegetables. So it's always that balance, right? How do we live in balance with nature
Of course,
in
yeah.
this world, right?
Definitely, yeah. It's always a balance, kind of. The monkeys were probably there first, you know. We're kind of encroaching on their territory, definitely. But yeah, the monkeys are a very big one for farmers here. And what a lot of farmers will do is they'll set off firecrackers, just set off like big firecrackers when monkeys are in the area, and it goes pop 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 pop. I've actually seen that firsthand, and the monkeys will just kind of scatter. and whatnot. Because the monkeys, the Japanese macaques, and there are a few invasive species of monkeys in Japan as well, but the Japanese macaques that are not endemic, but are native to Japan, yeah, they definitely, farmers are at at battle, I guess you can say, with the Japanese macaques. And the macaques, you have to be careful with them because they can be pretty vicious. They have some very big canine teeth that you just don't want, and they're going to be much faster than you, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're in their backyard, if you're in an area that's wooded, that's their grounds. Their trees, they're much more well adapted to move around in that landscape than you are. I've had a little bit of a close call with a monkey in the forest. I was kind of walking on the trail, and there was a monkey, and he kind of barked at me and kind of went, oh, oh, kind of. He didn't charge me, but I kind of stood my ground and said, hey. And he scattered off. But monkeys are one of the ones you have to kind of be careful with. I'm a little bit more concerned with monkeys than I are with wild boar, right? Wild boar, if you threaten them, if they feel threatened and you are actively trying to kind of threaten the wild boar, they're gonna come after you, right? Like on YouTube, and I hate these videos, of people trapping and killing wild boar and stuff like that, and actually showing the killings on YouTube, and it's just horrible. It's just not the content that I want to watch. But unfortunately, there's an audience for it. But the wild boar go nuts, and they're trying to kind of come after you. But obviously, it's survival mode for those wild boar. But if you see, and sometimes you'll see the wild boar like in the city. And they'll kind of attack people and stuff like that. But thinking from a wild boar perspective, they're out of their element. They're out of their mind. They're scared. That's why they are attacking. Like wild boar are not going to attack you because they want to, right? That's not their nature. They're going to run away at all costs. But if they
That's
feel
right.
threatened, they're going to come after
Yeah.
you, kind of
Even
thing.
that's even something
Hmm.
that humans have, right? The fight or
Of course,
flight.
fight or
So
flight.
if
That's
they
basically
if
what
they
it is. Yeah,
feel they can't escape, then they're gonna try to fight.
exactly,
I
exactly. So,
really like this PSA that
mhm,
you guys did about don't leave your junk food in the forest.
yeah.
In Hiroshima, we have an island near us called Rabbit Island,
Hmm.
nicknamed Rabbit Island, and a lot of people will feed snacks or things that you're not really naturally going to get
Hmm.
for the rabbits that are there. So
Hmm.
they changed, and the local shops will actually give rabbit food and say, please, only if you're going to feed them, give only this natural rabbit food. And I'm really happy to see that. But it is really disheartening when you see people feeding the deer on Miyajima. It used to happen a lot, feeding monkeys. And then when
Hmm.
the animals kind of go nuts and try to get the human food because they're used to it, they want
Yep.
it, and it's
Hmm.
not healthy for them, it
Hmm.
becomes a problem. And then they get angry. So it's just much better not to feed
Yeah.
the animals human food, right?
Definitely, definitely. In those places like Nada and other places like that, like feeding the deer, it's definitely become a tourist attraction. And it is what it is. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm not saying I'm for it. It is what it is. Same thing with kind of the Rabbit Island you're talking about, and I think even in Kyoto they have a few monkey parks, and Japan has a lot of those. Like those kind of animal. They have like neko cafe, like cat cafes and owl cafes, and you name it, they probably have some sort of wildlife cafe. And it's pretty unique to Japan. I feel like so I don't know. I have no interest in kind of those. I would rather, same thing with zoos. I'm not really for zoos. I'm not really against zoos. I have a toddler. He loves the zoo, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm not a hardcore like kind of activist. Like get rid of zoos. That's not me. But we don't want to feed wildlife. They'll lose a little bit of their wildlife, their natural tendencies to look for their own food, to you know live for themselves. They'll start getting closer and closer, to kind of the our where we're living. Because we are already encroaching on their lands. They're gonna keep coming closer to us if we keep feeding them. And this video that Wombat made, and you can kind of see Wombat. He's the other guy. He's the other half because it's a two-man team that we run the channel with. It was kind of in response to another YouTube channel where this guy, that's all he does is leave junk food. He's doing it for kind of the sensationalism. Leaving a whole like Costco chicken out, or leaving like a full like McDonald's meal or a full pizza out into the woods to see what, wildlife would do. And they just eat it like that. That's really like it. I don't know why people are so interested in seeing it, but it gets lots and lots of traffic. It's because it's a great thumbnail image, and people are like, oh, what happens, and they just eat it. There's really nothing too special about it, but it pulls. I think another video, he had like some sort of watermelon that he covered with peanut butter and stuck peanuts in it and stuff like that. Made it just a very wild, sensationalized like thumbnail, and got lots and lots of, hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of views. So that was kind of our we're a very small channel compared to that big channel that had million, I don't want to say millions, but had hundreds of thousands of subscribers and stuff like that. And we just want to do a kind of tongue in cheek and say, hey, look, we have this. We're not going to leave it in the forest because that's not responsible. Don't feed wildlife. I mean, they're more than capable enough finding their own food, that they're used to eating, right? They could have allergic reactions. Animals have allergic reactions just like human beings do, right? They could be allergic to something that's, in the preservatives and all the unnatural things that they're not used to eating. Um, you know, nine
Yeah,
times out of 10, they're probably going to be fine, but they just shouldn't be eating it.
I've seen recently,
Hmm.
even don't feed the birds your
Hmm.
toast or your bread,
Hmm.
because it doesn't have enough nutrition in it for them,
Yeah.
and they will choose the bread instead of worms or things which are
Hmm.
more natural and nutritious for them.
Yeah. I've
So
definitely heard that
even
too. Yeah.
even something which seems really fun to do, and I know some people love doing that,
Mhm.
it's just better to let them eat from their own natural environment, right?
Yeah, definitely. And most people probably know as well that, if you're feeding birds in a public area, and sometimes the birds can be a nuisance and stuff like that. That's I think maybe a norm that most people know. And, in Japan, it's most like places where people live is very compact. You'll get bird feces and stuff like that. People don't want it, but what you're saying is totally true. It's not their natural diet. And, you kind of, you'll switch their behavior, right? Because there's like, oh, I can get food here. Animals, wildlife, they're gonna go the easiest way to survive, right? They're gonna find shelter, find food, find a mate. That's how animals work. That's their three core needs, right? Find food, find shelter, find a mate. Maybe four, take care of my babies. That kind of thing. But if you start giving them an easy way to get constant access to food, they're going to keep coming and not get a natural diet. And it's just on the long run, not good for them. So we don't want to feed or put any, we get that asked quite a bit. Do you put like bait in front of your trail cameras? Like, no, 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 no way. We don't want to do anything like that. I have found like a fruit tree, right? I found a natural fruit tree that is in the forest. I'm like, heck yes, this is a hotspot because the animals are going to come eat the fruit.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that sounds perfect.
Hmm.
Find
Hmm.
somewhere they normally find food and set up your
Hmm.
camera there. That sounds ideal.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
before before I forget, you want to
Yeah.
show your most popular video on YouTube, which
Sure.
introduces what you guys do? That'd be a
Yeah,
great
we can
time
do
to
that.
show
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of like our channel trailer. So it basically kind of gives a very short um introduction to our channel. Most of our videos, actually all of our videos are natural. We don't want to put any like music or anything behind them. We do put a little bit of text on the screen every once in a while just to give some information about the animals, but this is kind of the channel trailer to showcase what our channel is about before you kind of dive deep. And we literally have hundreds of wildlife videos on there. So I guess bear with me. I'm gonna get that kind of going here. Present here. I'm still very new to this HAPS platform. Hopefully this is going to work. Is that showing up there? Is the screen? Okay, there it is
Yeah.
right there.
I'll make it the central screen. There you go.
Okay, very good. So I'll pull this one up there. And we'll just kind of put this together. Wombat actually put this together, um, uh, the whole video here and whatnot. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, it's a two-man team, so we tackle different videos and whatnot. So we'll just this is about a minute long, and we'll just kind of go through and check this out. So here goes nothing.
Okay, great.
All right. So that's basically kind of just a really quick, short introduction to our channel. Turn that off there. And
That's
I think it's
awesome.
pretty good.
Yeah, really good, really cute.
Yeah.
And something
Hmm.
that you also do on your channel, which I think
Hmm.
is worth mentioning, you
Hmm.
have monthly competitions. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Yeah, we've kind of phased that out, but it was definitely a fun kind of series that we did. But we did kind of some trail camera competitions, just very friendly competitions. Like there was no like you won a prize kind of thing, but it was just kind of a competition that Wombat and myself kind of friendly competition between us to push each other to find better spots. We want to get the better wildlife clips, and we had like a few simple rules. Like we would set a certain time period or a time frame. So for these 2 weeks, this is the competition period, and we would set out our cameras. So the point system, just to kind of do a very simple rundown on the point system, was you would get 1 point for each species in the video. So if you got a wild boar in the video, that's 1 point. If you got a monkey, that's 1 point. A deer, 1 point. But if you had kind of 2 wild boar clips, you'd still only get 1 point because you just get a species point. Okay. You would also get a point for.
You don't get
Mhm.
more points if it's a rare sighting.
So that's yeah. We never really we got. I think we did about 8 competitions, 8 or 9 competitions, and we just kind of fizzled it out. Because we had fun doing it, but it just wasn't taking off too much as a series. But yeah, we thought about it after. Is like we should get a rare point, like a rare for like a rare animal, like the Japanese night heron that I caught. That would be like a rare point. We never got to that, but another point would be multiple animals. So a lot of times we only see like one animal in the shot, but if you get like maybe 2 tanuki, like a mating pair, or you get like a wild boar and its babies, so that will get you a multiple animal point. So you get multiple animals in the shot, so that'll get you a point. You also get like multiple species. So if you get like a wild boar and like a crow or something like that, you get like different two different types of wildlife in the same area at the same time in the shot. That will get you a point. We had camera interaction. So if the animal would come up to the camera, scratch it, sniff it, or do something like that, that will get you 1 point. And then we also had interesting behavior points. So a lot of times with the trail cameras, you'll just get walk bys. Just kind of the animals will just be walking by, and they just kind of walk by, and that's great. We enjoy viewing that, but we also wanted to see interesting behavior. So, for instance, like maybe an animal caught some food or something like a tanuki caught a worm and is like nibbling it, or maybe I caught some tanuki kind of scuffling, a little fight in one of my videos. So they were kind of probably fighting for. Tanuki are not necessarily territorial, but they will fight over mates and stuff like that, to show dominance and stuff like that. So I caught a tanuki fight, which was an interesting behavior point. So that's kind of the points. And in the video, we would kind of rank like, who had. I had a 13-point video, because you had a mixture of those different points, and we would kind of see who had the better the video for that week. So it was really fun. The main
So
goal was to
fun.
push each other, a friendly competition to push each other to
Yeah.
find better
No,
spots. Yeah,
it's fun. It's nice
yeah,
to have competitions on
yeah.
YouTube.
Of course.
Thanks for joining Chris and Dan
Hmm.
from HAPS. Great to see you guys here. We have a question from
Sure.
Hey Mo on
Mhm.
YouTube. So, Dan, with that fruit tree, do you place the camera on the fruit tree or in another tree looking at the fruit tree? Good question.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Mo, for the question. It all depends. I kind of like what I was talking about before is that, we're using trees. We're basically strapping these to trees with just kind of some industrial kind of straps and whatnot. So it depends on what is in that area. If the only tree in that area is that fruit tree, I have no choice. I have to put it on that fruit tree. But if there's another kind of tree in the area that's facing that fruit tree, we're definitely try to find the best shot as possible. I'll kind of open this up really quick. But how they kind of open up here is they have like a little screen right here, little LCD screen here. I'll turn it on, and maybe you'll be able to see it. I'm not sure. You can kind of see a little bit there. So you can kind of see that. I'll put my hand right there. I don't know. It has a little bit of a screen right there, so I can see what it's pointed at, right? I can see what it is, and I can set up the turn that off, get it out of the way. I can see how I can compose the shot, right? Because we want to get a good amount of nature in there, like a very beautiful shot, as well as, find an area that animals are going to go, because you can get a very well composed shot with amazing nature in there, but the animals aren't going past. So, but yeah, so it just kind of depends on where the fruit tree is and what are the other trees. I've hooked it to a big rock one time. There was a very sturdy rock that I could put it to. And sometimes, again, like, you'll have an amazing spot. You're like, this spot is gonna be amazing, but there's no trees, there's no angle, and we just have to give up on it. And there's plenty of woods. We just we meander through the woods, and we find a spot. We use GPS, so we never get lost. People are like, oh, don't you guys get lost? It's like, well, I mean, we're going out every single weekend. Literally every single weekend, because
That's a really
between
good
Mhm,
point, though, right? Like sometimes you can't locate your car keys in the house.
mhm, mhm.
Sometimes can you not locate where you left the camera in the forest?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great that you asked. It goes right on par with kind of the GPS that we use. So we'll drop a pin. We'll drop a pin to where our locations are, where our trail cameras are. So we've never lost a trail cam. We've Wombat, actually, we've had cameras in very similar areas to where I would go out and, excuse me, I would check one of my cameras, and you say, hey, check my camera while you're there, but I didn't place it. So we'll definitely use kind of technology. We'll use the cell phone to drop a pin, right, to my camera, right? And he'll send me, and you kind of have a mental map. You're like, okay, I remember this fallen tree. I remember this big rock. I remember, kind of this, this landscape, very unique feature, and you can find your cam because you trekked there and you found it, right? But then when I had to find Wombat's cam, it was really fun. It's like a scavenger hunt, kind of like geocaching. If that's, I think there's a lot of people that's still doing that. Geocaching, caching. I don't know if I'm saying that right, where you just try to find that pin, So it was really fun to find his, but we've never had a problem finding our, misplacing our cameras, whatnot. Every once in a while, you're like, wait, here. Oh no, did the camera get stolen? But we're like, oh nope, there it is. So, it's really really fun, to go
That's
out there,
so
and
cool.
we put them
Are
in.
there any
Mhm,
cameras that you could like
mhm.
connect with an app on your phone and actually see what's
Yep.
being captured live? Is that possible?
Definitely, yeah. They have cellular cellular trail cameras where they will actually send, when your trail camera is triggered, it will send a picture, or it will send a notification to you that something has triggered your camera. Because another thing that people can use these for, the cellular ones, is for security as well. So you can use these as security cameras as well. And some trail cameras market themselves as kind of a mobile security system that doesn't have to be kind of wired in, and whatnot. So there are trail cameras like that. We don't use any of those. We like the aspect of, part of the fun is just not knowing, just the excitement of you're trekking out in the woods. And we go to a lot of very popular kind of hiking trails, but we go off the trail. Obviously, we don't want to put it on the trail because we just don't want people. We don't want to get people. I've gotten people on our trail cameras before, but we don't want humans. That's the thing. But we'll go off the trail. And whatnot. I lost my train of thought. But
So
what
talking
was
about
Mhm.
having a live feed
Oh,
from your
live
camera.
feed. Yeah. So part of the fun is putting it out, thinking you found an amazing spot, and coming back in about, 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and seeing what it caught. It's just that excitement, along with that meme, kind of, checking your trail camera for the first time, check your trail camera for the 7,597th time. It's still amazing to open it up and just see, oh wow, I got this amazing clip, very unique clip, and stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's just
Can you
amazing. Mhm,
talk
mhm.
about the editing process a little bit,
Sure.
because you must have so
Mhm.
much footage.
Oh, yeah.
Do you use special software to edit it down? What's
Yeah.
your process? How long do you spend editing?
Yeah, of course. We've streamlined it. We know we've kind of really, because we have hundreds of videos, right? And I think I've seen a little bit of an adaptation from what what our channel used to be a year ago and what it is now. But we definitely have hundreds of clips. I will go check a trail camera that's been out for a month, and I will have, a, a good, like, wombat. I think wombat one time, he had over 100 some odd clips, hundreds of clips. He found an amazing spot with just a lot of activity. So what we'll do is we'll just pull it into, I use, I'm an Apple user, so I use Mac. I have, what is it? What is the program? I open it every single day. I forget the name. Editing software. It's the paid one, Final Cut Pro. I use Final Cut Pro to kind of cut my videos. So I'll kind of go through. One thing with these trail cameras, you kind of get false triggers. You might get a false trigger to where the animal will trigger the sensor, but it might not necessarily go through the frame, right? So we'll just kind of preview it from there. Obviously, we're not going to use that. So we just, boom, trash that. And we try to go through and choose clips that are going to be visually interesting, right? Because we do get a lot of, you'll get like a wild boar that spends 45 minutes in an area, and you get like 40 some odd clips of that. You don't need to see 45 minutes of a boar just kind of hanging around. So we go through and filter. We try to pick out the most interesting, visually interesting clips, like that when you're showing right there, that tanuki. I think it dives into a little hole right there. Oh, it jumped right up there. Okay. I think it goes into the hole. I remember this clip. Yeah, it goes down into this little hole. I think this is Wombat's video, but he found this this hole, and he's like, I bet some sort of like wildlife, like a badger or tanuki or raccoon is using that. So that's why he said it. That's why the trail camera is in that location, because we're like, we want to see what goes in and out of this hole, So yeah, we just we go through. Sometimes we have a bunch of clips, and sometimes you'll get out to a camera and you have 4 clips, and you're like, "Duh," and that happens. That's why we have multiple cameras. Between both of us, we have 10 trail cameras out. We have 10 trail cameras in a bunch of different locations, so it kind of guarantees that we are going to get footage. In the beginning, we only had a couple trail cameras each, and sometimes we're like, I don't know, because we upload weekly. We upload a video every single week, and we haven't broken schedule for a full year. Every single week we're uploading something, but there have been times, and it's more of the winter. In the winter, where animals are less active because it's colder, they're trying to preserve a lot of their energy. And whatnot, there you'll get less clips, right? But there have been times where, like, I don't know, Wombat, I might not have a video, or he'd be like, Dan, I don't know if I'm gonna have a video this week. But we've always been able to, like, luckily, be able to pull some wildlife together to show everybody on YouTube.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
I'm showing your feed from your Instagram page.
Yeah.
So you must have to edit down to a certain length or type for Instagram as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Are you doing the same kind of edit for Instagram, Facebook, and then the longer edits stay on YouTube? Is that right?
Yeah, the longer edits are definitely going to go on YouTube. We definitely, for different kind of platforms, for Instagram, and I think the main one we use is Instagram, and we use Twitter, and a little bit of Facebook, and then YouTube, obviously. So our main is YouTube because, again, we get the videos, right? We get the longer videos, so that's our main platform that we use. But then we do put these bite-size clips of just really, really interesting. And I think this Martin catches a worm right there. Yep, he caught a worm right there. So these kind of really bite-sized, very just visually interesting clips, we'll put them on Instagram, and we'll put them on the shorts. We'll put them on the shorts, the YouTube shorts that we talked about earlier, to try to catch a lot of views there, to show people what wildlife is in Japan. There's a Japanese macaque for sure.
Yeah, that's
Japanese
awesome.
macaque there.
We have a last question. What's the most amazing or surprising video you got? Good
Oh man, that's
question.
hard. That's hard because Wombat and we have another meme that we put up, is that, I forget what it is, but it's just something about, we share clips with each other. Like, we'll share clips back and forth. Oh, here's another good one. This is a 3-legged raccoon. we named that one Lefty, Lefty the three-legged raccoon. So it's just amazing to find, see wildlife that with like three-legged raccoon there. It probably got itself caught in a leg trap, but that's how it lost its there. But again, it's the meme that I was talking about is Wombat and I share clips all the time. Like we'll just send clips through like Line or Facebook or just any way that we normally communicate. And we're just like, wow, that's amazing. We just think it's so much fun, and it's hard. It's hard. We've gotten so many amazing clips. When we first got monkeys, we were searching for monkeys for the longest time, trying to find an area. And when we first got monkeys, we're like, yes, we got monkeys, So that was really cool. And just any kind of amazing, just really like this beautiful clip that you have on screen right there. When the animal, 9 times out of 10, our videos are going to be at night. A lot of the animals, because of the cover of night, they feel more comfortable and whatnot, and less exposed, I guess you'd say. So when we get like beautiful day shots, those are some of our favorites, getting these beautiful daytime shots of the animals and whatnot, and the deer. So it is super hard. It would be impossible for us to kind of narrow it down to one or two. This one actually kind of blew up a little bit on our channel. In India, of all places. I don't know why India was very, very interested in this clip of the wild boar. Just wallowing, talking about taking a bath, hanging around in the mud. So clips like these are some of our favorites for
Yeah,
sure.
I love this one as well. It shows
Mhm.
how much character and personality the boars have.
Yeah, they
And I
definitely
think
do.
what you guys are doing, capturing them in their
Hmm.
natural habitat
Hmm.
when there's no people around, you're
Hmm.
kind of, it's such a magical way to capture them. So I'm
Definitely.
so glad that we got to talk to you today and promote
Mhm.
some of the great work that you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure to share the wildlife. We always enjoy, showing a different side of Japan that most people don't see, and it's very relaxing videos. It's not very high pace and a lot of flashy stuff. We're just kind of showing what's going on in the forests in the rural areas of Japan. So we always love doing that. So definitely, it sounds like we're getting ready to end here. So definitely check us out, Japan Trail Cam on YouTube. Lots of good fun videos there every week. We upload a couple videos every single week, mostly on Saturdays and whatnot. And we just enjoy wildlife, and we just want to share more Japanese wildlife or wildlife from Japan to as many people as possible. So
Yeah. Well, thank
definitely,
you so much, Dan.
of
And
course.
big thanks to the other Dan who couldn't join
Mm-hmm.
us today.
Wombat,
And
wombat, wombat.
look forward
Mhm.
to following you guys' adventures and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, for all the great comments and questions. And definitely subscribe to Japan Trail Cam on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Did I
Yeah.
miss anything? Yeah,
Twitter, but whatever. Mainly
Twitter.
the YouTube
Okay.
channel. That's where our core activity is, and that's where you're gonna find literally hundreds of wildlife videos. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great weekend and go explore some nature.
of course.
Thanks a lot. Take care, everyone.
Bye.